let's say someone's starting completely fresh, no following. What would be the best place to explore to potentially make money in the future?
Can I be real?
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to episode 4 of the podcast. It's Hunter.
And it's Joelle. What's poppin'? Today, we are going to talk about basically how to know if your art's ready to be sold and how to start getting ready to sell your art if you're like at the beginning stages. I find that's a question that a lot of people have is like, how do I start? And I got the answers for you. I sure got those answers for you. I'm a business major and my associate's degree in business, and a lot of the stuff that I learned was simply from bootstrapping method and trial and error. So it's a learning curve, and you'll end up finding out what works for you. But yeah, I'd love to give some tips and tricks.
I definitely think that was the biggest thing for me, was figuring out what works, because everyone's different, right? So finding what works best for you when you're trying to sell something, it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all method, but I think there's definitely some trends that you can follow depending on what your industry you're in. And so I think art is definitely going to be different than even how I sell things for like video work or photography. It's just not going to be the same, I don't
Exactly. It is something that's completely different from all the other industries and fields when you're coming to selling. So my whole belief with art is that if you're doing it for money, you're in it for the wrong reason. Because if you're simply trying to sell your art just to make money, I don't think the universe really likes that. Not that the universe wouldn't support you, but it's more like that's not the right reasons to like manifest what you want. I feel like the best place to start with your art, this is like, okay, so like say we're talking to like beginners, people that are like, oh, this is my dream. Experiment. Play with your art, make paintings, make as much as you can, play with all the mediums, all the different fluids and whatnot. See what works best for you. So is that oils? Is that watercolor? Is that acrylic? Is it markers? Is it a mix of all of it? Me. I'm so fluid that I can't pick a medium. But just experiment and play and make as many paintings as you need. This is like the era where you're at quantity over quality, and you're just experimenting and learning how to throw things down and see what textures you can create, all that good stuff with your art. And then you start learning from your own creations. So that's what I did during like 2020 to 2021 was I was just playing around, creating what I was seeing in my head. But then what I did was I literally wrote down in my book exactly what I wanted my art to make people feel, what I wanted from my art, how I wanted it to affect people, and like what did I want it to do basically. So I wanted my art to evoke emotions in people. I wanted people to feel less alone. I wanted people that were in like my same wavelength to be like, oh my God, I'm not alone. There's other people that are creating art about spirituality and emotions. And the biggest thing was like, I wanted to hit people on emotions because I wanted to feel less alone. So I literally wrote down in my journal exactly what I wanted my art to make people feel. And basically like the effects of it.
Yeah, I think what you're trying, because fame, I think, is another reason that people will try to get into some sort of performance-based field, right? It's either you're trying to pursue some sort of money, you're trying to emulate someone you look up to. Maybe you really connect with like Banksy's work, and you see like the impact he has socially and that kind of thing. So maybe some sort of fame. I think it's really easy, especially with social media right now, to kind of get integrated into a community through art. We were kind of talking about like the paint, flying paint art before and how accessible it is. I think there's a lot of different ways someone can get into being artistic, especially like if we're talking strictly like painting or some sort of performance art. But I think the big thing is passion, right? You have to have some sort of connection to what you're doing. You can't be doing it for one of these abstract ideas like fame, success, money, if what's driving you is not your passion for what you're doing, and this goes beyond art, I think, but if what you're doing isn't because you love doing it and you would do it even if you didn't get anything from it, then I think you're doing the wrong thing, unfortunately.
There we go. So, exactly. Like, if you had access to everything in the world that you already needed, what would you be doing? Is it your passion for art that is what you would be doing, which is what I would be doing? Like, I would be making art whether there was money to be made off of it or not, because that's something that's like I'm so passionate about. So yeah, definitely being in it for the right reasons. Now, if you want fame from your art, what type of fame do you want? Do you want to inspire people? Do you want to influence people? And I remember writing this down in my book too. I was literally like, I want to inspire people. Like, that is my biggest thing, is like, money does not mean a thing to me, because like I've shown up to a vending place where I paid $60 to be there and I made $8, and you know what? I was still happy as ever, because so many people got to see my art and I got to provoke so many reactions from people. I was like, this is bliss. Like, having people actually flip through my book, talk to me about what they're feeling, what their perspective is on this pieces. I've always manifested that I'll open people's perspectives up to my art, and then they'll open up perspectives of my own art to me, and then I can see like how everyone views everything. And that's like why I got into the Rorschach paintings, because I love knowing what brains are thinking. I'm such a curious person like that. But so yeah, make sure you're not in it for the wrong reasons, because I know that sometimes when I would go to an event and I'd be in it for the wrong reasons, it wouldn't be successful for me, you know? If I was going there like, oh, I want to make $300. I'm going to make $300 this weekend, blah, blah, blah. Usually I'd probably come out with like a lot less than what I expected, and that's because I was putting expectation on the results rather than going in and being like, I'm just grateful if people see my art and want to support me, you know? And then I like to say, like, success to me looks like this. Oh, this is a perfect example. I finally had my event this weekend, and I literally went in there and I said, success to me this weekend would be at least $100, so I can be able to afford food for the week and get any art supplies that I need for my upcoming festival. And you know what? I made $100. So, hey, it's amazing when you know that you're in it for the right reasons, because you don't care about the outcome. You don't care about the expectation. And you release that all, and you're just like, I'm just happy to be here, living in the moment, and having people look at my art. Okay, so now let's move on to, okay, so we covered the beginner artists. So I think a lot of people are like, wonder when their art is ready to be sold, or some people want to just jump into straight up selling their art, but they haven't built a platform, or not enough people have seen their art. And one of the greatest things I can recommend is, I'd say, start with your community, because that's what I did. I was literally on Snapchat posting to my friends that I knew from high school, being like, hey. So they would always swipe up on my stories and be like, oh my God, is there prints of this? Is there stickers of this? So once you know that you have a demand for your art, as in people are requesting to have some of it, that's when you know that you're ready to sell your art, truly. And you don't have to do a lot of it. Like I said, I did the bootstrap method, where you literally pick yourself up by the bootstraps. My first batch of prints was literally like 8x10 matte designs, and I got like, I don't know, 5 of each. It was a small order, and then I got stickers, and I did sticker packs. And that's how I made the first amount of capital for my my art business. So I know a lot of people have struggle with starting because they're working a 9-to-5. I was working dog shows, so it was more like my weekends, or like 5 to 3 days that I'd be in a different state. So I mean, I was able to get money from that and use it to put back into my art. But immediately with that art, that first batch that I bought, any of the money that I made from it went back into my art. And then that was a continuous cycle for 2 to 3 years. Literally making prints, stickers, selling them, being able to make money from it, and then putting it back into my art, and started buying the things that I needed for a setup. So there'd be like tables, printing materials, like stands, a pin board, easel, etc. I was able to, I'm very grateful for this too. I'm so grateful that everything's worked out perfectly. Um, but yeah, like in 2020, I had absolutely nothing to start a vending thing. But now it's 2024, 4 years in. Oh yeah, 4 years in. I have gained a lot of the things that I need, and yeah, bootstrap method, it works. You just have to be very vigilant, you know.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's say
Okay.
someone's starting completely fresh. They don't know what medium they want to work with yet. No following, completely fresh start. What would you recommend someone to start investing into? What would maybe be the best medium to explore if they have no idea what they want? What would be the best place, like style of art for you to explore that's going to be able to allow you to express yourself, to grow skill wise, and then also to potentially make money in the future? Where would you say someone should start looking if that's kind of what they're trying to do, is just get into this with zero background?
Honestly, watercolors, because watercolors is very cheap. You literally can use such a little amount to even start, and it's the easiest medium to work with. You just have to understand that it works reverse, so you're saving all your lightest parts of the drawing and then going dark. But I'd say that's like the cheapest medium. And you can use it like fluid inks. You can use it, um, honestly, really cool methods that you can use watercolor with. Um, I feel like people that are going into the art business know that they have some type of passion for art and have had experience, you know. If you were taking all your art classes in high school and middle school, that you could, um, you'll know the basics. But if you're like fresh, I'd say start with literally going on YouTube, or not sponsored. Go onto Milan Art Institute's free
Yeah.
page of like tips and tricks that they offer. And honestly, like, go learn as much as you can, and then when you start, this is what I didn't do. I hid a lot of my art from the world, and I still do. I have so much art that so many people have not even seen. So I recommend start your little art Instagram and start posting your journey. Start posting the things you make. Don't be afraid, because that's something that held me back the most. Was I was literally afraid of being perceived. That was the hardest thing to work through. It was 3 years of having to, 3 or 4. Obviously, I'm fine with being perceived now, so obviously it was 4, 4 years of that, and that was, oh my god, that's probably for another episode. Honestly, the me having to get over fear of perception and where that even rooted from, because that rooted from dog shows. Whew.
And I think everyone's going to have something, we
Yeah.
don't have to go into it, but I think everyone's going to have some sort of insecurity that they're going to have to combat when they start getting into this
Yep.
industry.
Yep.
Even if it's just if you're uncomfortable with the idea of not being successful. I think that's probably going to be the most common one, right? Is people are going to be afraid to start because they don't want to fail. And
Yep.
there's usually not something that's directly in front of you that's causing that insecurity. That's something that
Yeah.
everyone's going to experience just because you don't want to be bad at it, right?
Right.
And so
Right.
that's going to be the most universal thing that people experience. Not that it's going to be the
Yeah.
easiest thing to overcome. That's probably the wrong way to put it. But that it's the thing that's probably rooted the least in you as an individual. Like, you probably don't personally have something that's causing that as much as everyone doesn't want to fail. That's going to be the thing that
Yeah.
is going to universally be connected with people who don't start something because they don't want to be bad at it.
Yeah, and then, oh yeah, going back to beginners, like people that are just kind of like working on art. Sorry, the
No, go.
idea came out of nowhere. Look up elements and principles of art and learn them. Learn what composition is. Study art history. Again, I'm always going to promote Milan Art Institute, even though it's not sponsored, but that is a year program that literally teaches you how to be a professional artist in a year. It is. I didn't even go to university because I knew university was not for me in the art. So that's why I went to community college, got my business degree, because that's the most that you can do with an art, like as an artist, is like if you have your business degree, you're kind of halfway there. add Milan Art Institute onto it. It's a year program that's online, and snap, they literally show you how to successfully be a professional at this. And that's what's amazing about that program.
How many pieces would you say someone should have before they start selling their work to stay sustainable? How much work should there be behind the scenes? How long should you be working on this before you start trying to go and selling your work at something like a pop-up maybe?
I'd say, because like there's other factors, like obviously know that you have the demand for your art, but also like I believe in manifesting. I believe you can make your own demand and draw in the people that are going to be attracted to supporting you. Because a portfolio is at least 24 works of art.
Okay.
Or so have at least 24 pieces that you're really proud of. So like what I would do is I would straight up make a piece of art and then let it dry and then put it in my little book. I have like a 13 by 19 inch book folder that I used, where I just put them in the little pocket, and then I'd bring it to my art show or whatever and just be like, flip through this book, and if you want to buy it, here you go. I'd say that's a great place to start, is with that. Literally like making a book of all your artwork that you have and just pricing it out like $50 and below or whatever you feel is worth it. I remember when I started, I had like a little bit high of an ego type thing, but also I knew the value of my artwork, and I'm like, I'm not selling this for $50. I'm going to wait until somebody actually wants to pay for it or actually resonates with it that hard that they want to support me like that. So like I have plenty of pieces that I have held on to since 2020. But yeah, I'd say at least 24, or just create, make that quantity. What else? And just have a way to present it. Because if you truly believe in yourself, success will happen. What can I say? You know, like, I really believe in the power of manifestation and, like, all that. But also know that if, like, something's not working out for you, it might not just be for you. Like, you know?
Yeah, let's explore that a little bit, because you just mentioned someone who was having a hard time selling their stuff because they might have been in the wrong market, let's say. How do you know when it's time to start transitioning from what you expect to something that's more sustainable? So how did you find the market that you were going to do the best in? How did you build your community? What kind of areas did you go into to kind of find your niche?
Can I be real? Yeah. Okay, so the most successful market that I've done, and I haven't even done a lot to even say, like, I've been to the ones where it's like shoddy and it's like, oh, this really was not my crowd. This was not my demographic. I need to not go there again. You have to recognize where your demographic is. So, and that's the funniest part about me, is that the best place that I've done is at the county fair.
Really?
I did the best at the county fair. So my first year doing it was in 2022, and I did it with my friend. And that's like the greatest place to ever sell your art. County fair was so successful because, one, I knew that there is some type of demographic that has not seen my type of artwork that I knew would resonate with my artwork, because that was my goal. So 2022, I did really well. Stickers did great. Stickers are always a great sale thing to sell, because it's the most easily to produce and lowest costing, so that a lot of people can like help or can get them, and they love stickers. But I was literally in the county fair, and this is like, I don't even know how to describe it. I was with my friend. We were doing portraits, like portrait drawings for kids. That made a great amount of sales because parents love that. I broke even on the second day. And every day I had made like a list of like what success meant for me for the week. And then like at the end of the week, I realized, I was like, oh shit, I doubled what I even, I think I did 2.5 times what my break even was. So that was beautiful. I loved that. But then last year at the county fair, my booth was elevated even better, and I had brought in somebody told me, they were like, you're kind of going too dark and you're scaring people away, which is what I knew, because like people at the 2022 fair were like, oh, this is scary, and I'm like, thanks. But this past year, it went amazing. It went so amazing. T-Mobile gave me one of their booths, so it was fun. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, like literally, I got like two little square spaces and got to extend my booth. But I really wanted to make sure that like people felt safe in my booth. They felt seen. They had a ton of art to look at. It was like an experience, you know. I don't even know where I'm going with this. My bad. But just being myself drew people in. And again, like I went in there like, all right, I'm here to have people connect and resonate with my art. And that's exactly what happened. And I ended up making twice as much that I did the year before. So that was beautiful. That was really beautiful.
And I think that's going to be something that's very important for new artists, is setting realistic expectations. I know when I was first starting Spotlight, my goal was always to break even was my goal, because
Yep.
then it was worth the job, right? And so I was happy with anything over, but especially to get to book jobs, especially, my goal was really that quantity over, not necessarily over quality, but quantity of work as much as possible over maybe like quality of income coming back
Yeah.
to me. And so being willing to take a little bit of a loss, or
Yep.
it's, for me, it was always looking at it like an investment in the future, right? And so being satisfied with leaving with what you came with, because experience has such a dollar value in anything you do, especially art. Getting into as many different places as you can, doing as much work as you can, meeting new people. It is unable to be quantified just how valuable I
Yeah.
think that is.
Yeah. I think really just getting your foot out there, finding go to Facebook and find what art and crafts areas are in your area, where
Great
you can
resource.
like where you can if you have like an old town, so like a lot of places have, like I have Old Town Warrenton. A lot of the places on the street, not on the street, a lot of the bars allow artists to put their artwork in there to sell. So there's so many opportunities everywhere to start putting your art out there, that you just don't know about because it's just not spoke about. So go on Facebook and find art markets and craft fairs. I really recommend like looking for booths that cost like $50 or less, $60. Just so you can save yourself from any financial ruin or mistake, I guess. Definitely, if you can, go and visit these art markets before you vend there. Start networking. So a lot of the things that I did is I was not networking. I feel like a lot of people were taking my own energy from my own personal life, so I never gave myself energy to even like go do the things that I need to do with my own business. So really focusing on networking and learning more about these markets that you want to attend.
All this to say, don't be afraid to try to get started. This is a very accessible thing to do. I think people feel like they have to have a certain level of experience or knowledge to get into this. And I think if you're willing to take the time to learn and to grow, that this is something you can start right now, today. Don't be afraid to go for it and just try.
Yep. People love art. Like anyone that has ever told you that like you're not going to make it as an artist, you're not going to make it as a musician, are literally lying to your face, because like I said in previous in previous podcast episodes, you can create your own reality. Do you want to be in the one where you're not an artist and you're doing something miserable for all your life? Or do you want to be the one where you're an artist and you're living your life to the fullest, just creating and sharing your artwork and making an impact, you know? Because that's like what I wanted to do, was I wanted to make an impact with my art. And guess what? We're here on a podcast right now. Like, I didn't think that would happen ever, but I knew that's what I wanted. And proof is in the pudding that it'll work out.
And you don't know that it's going to fail unless you don't try.
Yep.
The
Yep.
only way you know that it's not going to work out is if you never start to begin with. So don't
Yeah.
be afraid, and don't listen to the people telling you it'll never work.
Yeah.
If this is something you're truly committed to and something you're so motivated into going into, you got to at least give it an effort, because that's the only way that you'll ever find out.
Yeah, truly. And if you keep yourself hidden from the world, well, they'll never see it. You'll never see what the possibilities could have been. I hope you guys like this episode. Let me know in the comments if you guys want me to touch on something else.
Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss any of the content we have coming for you. What is something they can look forward to coming from you?
Lucid Dream Festival. Go get your tickets now. I'm having so much art there. Bringing new pieces that haven't been seen, such as the ones behind me.
Other than that, we will see you in the next episode. Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
And cut.